Impact segment tonight, there is no question that a 3-year-old boy falling into a gorilla cage leading to the animal being shot to death is a major story. But is it more important than 69 people being shot in Chicago over the same period of time? Apparently so, as the network news gave the gorilla story 54 times more play than the Chicago story.
Police say they will question the parents of a boy who fell into a gorilla enclosure at the Cincinnati Zoo.
After 10 minutes with the boy inside that exhibit, zoo workers say they had no other choice but to kill the gorilla to save the boy.
Joining us now from Chicago, Hermine Hartman, publisher of Indigo magazine, and Matt McGill, radio talk show guy on WVON. Matt, we'll begin with you. This violence in Chicago seems never ending. Why can't the authorities there stop it?
But you know what? I think the easy answer is you got too many guns on the street. And I don't know that any police department can handle it. There's just too much going on. The will to commit crime, to shoot, to use guns is greater than the ability to cover it, Bill.
But then how could that be possible, though, in New York City, which is 4 times the size of Chicago, and Los Angeles, bigger than Chicago, other cities around the country, have nearly this kind of a problem. So if the authorities can't control it in Chicago, but they can in New York and L.A., to some extent, what's the difference?
Well, in Chicago, it's the history of the city and segregation. Housing, redlining that has separated black people from other communities. It's been easier to choke off resources from one community and make that community more violent. I think when you look at the dynamics in other major cities, they're different from Chicago.
Oh, there's no doubt that they're different. But the problem, Ms. Hartman, is the same. Stopping violence in the street. Here in New York, Giuliani did it. In Los Angeles, Bratton did it to some extent when he was police commissioner out there. Chicago, they have not been able to stop violence in the streets.
We're not working together, Mr. O'Reilly. That's part of the problem. Everyone is working in silos. The police are working by themselves. The politicians are working by themselves. Community organizations are working by themselves. And we keep working on negativity. What we have to do is work in another way. We've got to come to the table with solutions. We can't keep studying this problem and playing the blame game. Chicago right now is a prescription for failure. The city budget, the teachers union, we don't have a budget in the state of Illinois. You close the schools. There are no resources in these communities. The philanthropic community ignores the black community, and it goes on and on
and on. Isn't that the duty of the leadership of the city and the state?
But it's all. The point,
no, I know,
Mr. O'Reilly, is
what I'm trying to say is this.
What leadership are you talking about?
I don't know. I mean, here in New York, we had a mayor by the name of Rudy Giuliani who took control of a city that was in chaos. People getting gunned down in the black neighborhoods, which we have here, just like you have, Mr. McGill. And they came up with a solution which was based upon community policing and CompStat. All right, and that solved the problem to a major extent. In Chicago, you got a Democratic mayor, you got a Republican governor in Illinois, and these guys don't seem to have a clue, Mr. McGill, or am I wrong?
It's not about the party.
I will agree to but hold on. I'll agree that political leadership and leadership in Chicago has not done a good enough job. Look, I'm black. Right. I live in Chicago. This crime is happening in my community. We should be embarrassed as African Americans that we've got the type of crime going on in our community. Our young people are dying. Just over the last 24 hours, a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old have been shot and killed in Chicago. Awful. What we have to do as a community is police our households first. You know, there's a part of me that wants the police to do the job, Bill, but there's another part of me that is saying, wait a minute, guys, this can't happen on our watch.
But individual responsibility is very, very hard to impose. And I would like to see the communities, the neighborhoods in Chicago, police themselves to some extent, Ms. Hartman, wouldn't you?
That's exactly what he's saying. That's what he's saying, Mr. O'Reilly. We can't keep blaming this on the other guy. All hands need to be on deck. Parents need to be on deck. Teachers need to be on deck. The police department on deck. The politicians. And we all need to come together. You can't come up with a solution.
But somebody has to coordinate that. And
Somebody has to pull it together. You know who pulls that together in Chicago? It's a minister who pulls that together here. And to the point that Matt made earlier, the racism here It's different than it is in New York. New York is not as prevalent as it is here. This is happening in certain communities. We are living in some war zones. And if you're living in a war zone, you've got to act like it's a war. And I say, bring in the National Guard to stabilize these communities.
I agree. The National Guard should stabilize the situation, and then everybody should get together.
There you go. Then you start working on solutions.
I got to go, guys. You know, I'm going to make a visit to Chicago soon. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm just going to show up.
Come on my show, Bill.
But you know, we're not going to let this story go. We're going to get a solution to this story. Thank you both.
We got a gorilla in Chicago. You're talking about the gorilla story. The gorilla in Chicago is violence.
That's for sure.